A single digit. That's all that stood between 24-year-old Maya and total homelessness. $12. Not enough for rent, not enough for a train ticket home, barely enough for a cold, generic brand deli sandwich in the middle of a freezing New York winter. Just 6 hours earlier, Maya had a salary, a cubicle, and a future. But a sudden, cold corporate downsizing wiped all of that out in less than 2 minutes. No severance, no warning, just a cardboard box filled with her desk plants and a polite shove out the front door. Now she was sitting in a dimly lit, empty diner on Fifth Avenue, nursing a single cup of black coffee she couldn't afford, staring at her banking app. $12.04. She felt a tear hit the screen. She was completely invisible to the world. Then, the heavy glass door of the diner swung open, and the man who would change her life forever walked in. He didn't look like a savior. He looked like a wreck. He was an older man, maybe in his late 60s, wearing a tailored but visibly rumpled charcoal suit. His tie was loosened, his hair was disheveled, and he was clutching his chest, breathing in shallow, ragged gasps. He stumbled past the empty booths, his eyes scanning the room in sheer panic. The diner staff was in the back, oblivious. Maya was the only one who saw him collapse into the booth right across from hers. "Sir, are you okay?" Maya asked, rushing over. The man couldn't speak. He just pointed frantically to his jacket pocket. Maya reached in and pulled out an EpiPen. He was having a massive, life-threatening allergic reaction. Her hands shook, her heart hammered against her ribs, but instinct took over. She slammed the auto-injector into his thigh. For 3 agonizing minutes, she held his hand, whispering that he was going to be okay, until his breathing finally stabilized. By the time the ambulance arrived, the man was sitting up, pale but conscious. He looked at Maya, his eyes intense and sharp. "You saved my life," he rasped. "What is your name?" "Maya," she whispered. He took a napkin, scribbled an address and a time on it, and handed it to her. "Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Don't be late, Maya." The address belonged to a towering, sleek skyscraper in Manhattan. Maya had to spend her absolute last dollars on a subway token just to get there. When she walked into the penthouse suite, she realized who she had actually saved. Arthur Vance, the reclusive billionaire CEO of Vance Global, one of the largest tech conglomerates in the world. Arthur was sitting behind a massive mahogany desk, looking completely recovered. "Sit," he commanded gently. Maya sat, her stomach growling audibly. Arthur smiled. "I looked into you, Maya. You were fired yesterday. You have $12 to your name, and yet you didn't hesitate to help a dying stranger. I don't forget debts." He slid a sleek, black corporate credit card and a set of keys across the desk. "As of right now, you are the executive vice president of my philanthropic division. Salary, $250,000 a year. The keys are for a company apartment on the Upper East Side. Your only job is to help me find people who are slipping through the cracks of this city and lift them up." Maya's jaw dropped. It felt like a movie. In less than 24 hours, she went from the brink of starvation to the absolute pinnacle of wealth. Over the next 6 months, Maya's life became a whirlwind. She moved into a stunning penthouse. She wore designer clothes. She managed a multi-million-dollar budget, funding shelters, schools, and hospitals. Arthur became more than a boss. He became a mentor, a father figure. He taught her how to navigate the cutthroat world of high finance, and she taught him how to care about the people at the bottom again. She was living the ultimate American dream. But luxury has a way of blinding you to reality. 6 months into her dream life, Maya arrived at the office early. She needed Arthur to sign off on a $10 million grant for a new children's hospital. His assistant wasn't at her desk, and Arthur's office door was slightly ajar. Maya was about to knock when she heard voices inside. Harsh, low, and urgent. It was Arthur, speaking to a man in a dark federal suit. "The SEC is closing in, Arthur," the man said. "The shell companies aren't going to hold up under a federal audit. They're going to trace the missing billions from the tech division right to this office." Maya froze, her breath catching in her throat. Arthur's voice was cold, calculating, and entirely devoid of the warmth she had grown to love. "They won't trace it to me. They'll trace it to the philanthropic division. Every single illegal offshore wire transfer was routed through the charity accounts. And what about the girl, Maya? She's the one signing the financial statements." Arthur let out a dry, ruthless chuckle. "Why do you think I picked her? A desperate, broke girl with no family who was ready to sign anything I put in front of her out of pure gratitude. She thinks she's saving the world. In reality, she's my perfect scapegoat. When the feds raid this building next week, Maya takes the fall and I walk away clean." Maya's world shattered. The diner encounter, the EpiPen, the dream job, it wasn't a miracle. It was a perfectly orchestrated trap. Arthur had targeted her because she was vulnerable, disposable, and easily blinded by money. Her heart hammered against her ribs, exactly like it had in the diner 6 months ago. But this time, she didn't panic. She backed away from the door quietly, her mind racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. She looked at the black corporate card in her wallet. She looked at the keys to her luxury apartment. It was all gilded cage. That night, Maya didn't go back to her penthouse. She went to a secure cyber cafe in Brooklyn. Using the backdoor digital access Arthur had given her to the charity's mainframes, she spent 12 straight hours downloading every single transaction, every offshore routing number, and every forged signature Arthur had forced her to sign. The next morning, FBI raided Vance Global. Sirens wailed outside the Manhattan skyscraper as federal agents swarmed the penthouse. Arthur Vance was led out in handcuffs, his face pale, surrounded by a media circus. He scanned the crowd of reporters, looking for the girl he had used as a pawn. He finally spotted Maya, standing across the street, wearing the same simple coat she wore the day they met. She wasn't crying. She was smiling. Arthur leaned into his lawyer's ear, his voice trembling. "It's fine. Let them arrest me. My team will bury the evidence. I have a private, untraceable reserve of $3 billion in a Swiss bank account under an alias. They can't touch it. He'll be out in a year." The lawyer looked at Arthur, his face completely white, and handed him a freshly printed document from the federal prosecutors. "Arthur, they already seized the Swiss account. An anonymous whistleblower gave them the encryption keys 4 hours ago." But that's not the worst part. Arthur frowned, a cold sweat breaking out on his neck. "What do you mean?" The lawyer swallowed hard. "The account wasn't liquidated by the government. The whistleblower used your own master security codes to legally transfer the entire $3 billion balance into a private, untraceable trust before the feds could freeze it." Across the street, Maya quietly reached into her coat pocket. She pulled out her phone, opened her banking app, and looked at the screen one last time. The balance no longer read $12. It read $3 billion. And with a single tap, she deleted the app, turned around, and vanished into the New York crowd.